All right. Hello, everybody. Finance Junkies. We are back. We are here. Carlos and I just got back from meeting up in good old California.
Which is weird. Like you were literally sitting in this chair this morning, and then you just like moved,
just moved 6,000 miles
moved over. I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off that I didn't get a picture of you sitting in this chair.
Oh, damn. Yeah, we didn't. We have a video, but of just like us talking there. But it was we'll debrief a little bit on the Meet Kevin trip that we had, and then we'll get into a bunch of macro stuff. Got a lot of stuff to talk about.
I got a couple links too of some stuff that I've been curious to discuss today.
Basically, this setup you see behind Carlos that you guys have seen for like hundreds of episodes, I got to like be there
that
yesterday.
Was weird.
And it was weird to him, but it was't weird to me. I was like, oh, I know this place. Like this is my place. Even
that was weird, just like seeing you in here. I was like, shit, some Vision Pro fucking hologram.
Yeah, it was. We stayed up till what is it? It's like 2 a.m. just talking in this little man cave he has. It's like an iconic man cave. So that was really fun. Got to see him. I got to meet his kids.
You gave me some great gifts. I'm not gonna lie. He gave me this shirt.
So that I got him a little shirt, best dad ever with the B for Bitcoin. All I'm saying.
This was winning.
Got him some Bitcoin playing cards. The actual
these Bitcoin cards are awesome. Like you guys can't tell, they're like really well made.
It's good stuff. It was cool stuff.
Like really well made, really good quality cards.
Because once you gets rich off Bitcoin, he's got to gamble it away. So you need the cards.
I'm gonna be playing, rummy with my my mother-in-law and my mom soon. That's what we'll be doing. We'll be playing that. What else? You got me the beer.
And I got him a beer mug that says "I told you so" with Bitcoin.
Right there, yeah. And
Amit, did you spend the top thingy? Yes, and it was legit. It was so cool.
Bro, and I expected you to take it. I told you that was your gift, and you left it here.
I wanted you to keep it as a little knickknack. It was good.
I wanted it to be like right next to the Palantir thing on the shelf.
Oh yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Like,
how did you enjoy actually meeting Kevin?
It was good. He's a real down-to-earth guy. I was really impressed with the operation. It was about 7 or 8 people that are like full-time employees, has an in-house lawyer. There was a bunch of things happening on all of his different businesses. Everybody was sort of working on everything all at once. Information feeds, like all, the screens that were up there to capture information.
This was the operation. It was just insanity, dude. I mean, they have a whole house. They have 5 employees. They have this big studio. And it's a machine. And that's how he produces so much content every day. He just steps in, talks, editor edits, boom, 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 ready to go. So it was really cool. I think in my general opinion, I think Carlos will get, he actually seemed like a nice person, like genuinely nice. I know a lot of people have a lot of thoughts about him, but I mean, he gave us as much time as we wanted. Yeah. We did a 2-hour interview. He was ready to do more. He was really nice. They offered us drinks and all this. Like, it was just a really good vibe, really cool team. And he opened up a lot in the interview. We got to,
this is a little bit of it in action.
Yeah, that's his guy Christian, who's just managing the whole editing part of it. It was, I mean, and he was so nice. He got us the footage in like 5 minutes after the pod was done.
Yeah,
it was legit.
That was cool. Very, yeah, he was a good guy, really personable, super busy. You can tell that his time it's like booked to the minute.
Which is why I didn't expect 2 hours, but he was just like, he was really willing to give us the courtesy, given we flew out.
Well, he did step out. We were running a little late, so he was like, "Fuck it." He hopped on that go-kart, went and got some food.
We got to show that video.
And then came back. I posted both of them today.
So about an hour 15 into the interview, his wife is like on this thing where she will legitimately kill him if he doesn't.
She's like, "Yo, come sit down."
So he was like, "Can I take 15 minutes to go eat?" And he hops on his go-kart and then he goes to eat, and then he let us ride it.
Oh, like the K1 speed.
It was Carlos. Like he literally just drives us back and forth to the office 7 times a day.
This thing, just back and forth, because it's like close enough where it's far enough where you don't want to walk, but it's close enough that you're like, do I really want to get in a 5,000-pound car? This thing is way cooler. And he also lives in an area where it's like there's not a lot of traffic in the streets, so you can do that. The thing was fun. And it was fast. Like when you push the accelerator down all the way, you can actually push it further than that. It like pushes to like a second level, and it goes like turbo. I have the video you posted, you doing it underneath, and then I think you posted one of him. So he's a good dude, smart. His team was really cool. Everybody was really cool. Everyone said great things about him. They really love working with him and for him. They're all super young guys.
Yeah, so they're in their 20s.
Passionate, all in their 20s. And the area was nice. Overall, it was.
You could tell he works his ass off, dude. You could tell I mean, he's 30. He's 31. He's managing $100 million, 50 in house hack, 50 in his ETF. YouTube channel successful. 4
Up
kids,
at 4:45 every day.
Yeah, he's a workaholic and he loves it, and he really loves it. Did he share his personal portfolio? I think it's very public in his Discord and stuff, but we do know he's now shorting Coinbase. So he did reveal that.
He's making some money on that. You know what it reminds me of? There was a famous quote of Tyson, where Mike Tyson, when he was talking about like preparation for fights, and they would be like, "Why do you get up at 4 a.m. and do a run? And why do you get up and do that?" And he's like, "I do it because I know the other guy isn't doing it, and there's something cool about knowing that I'm doing something that will give me an edge. While he's sleeping, I'm out here grinding and whatnot." And you get a bit of a sense of that from Kevin, because he's up at 4:45 every day, reading those newspapers back to back, sharing feeds, it's stories with his team who helps him do research. Then they start recording, do live. He's legit.
Yeah, I agree. All right. He doesn't live where he works, but he lives like 45 seconds away. So let's get into the stock market, macro stuff, all this good stuff. I think we'll start off with this because Chris definitely started a little bit of controversy on Twitter, and let's see his justification.
Yeah, Chris came out swinging yesterday.
Chris came out swinging, and he went for some people's neck. Basically, Chris called out one of the larger Twitter accounts on the platform and says they don't know what the hell they're talking about when they say China is uninvestable. And Chris is like, you know what? Everyone has this narrative that China's uninvestable, but maybe we need to be a little contrarian here. So, Chris, why don't you kind of talk about this? Are you actually serious thinking of China, or are you kind of being like, you know what, we need to, if everyone's bullish, we need to be a little bearish type of argument?
I think you posted some research on today on that.
No, absolutely. So one of the things that I typically do is I follow a lot of people on Twitter, primarily good people who have really good information, but then also people who have a ton of terrible takes. And whenever they have these terrible takes, they're like my canaries in the coal mine, where I actually do the homework to see like where are they thinking. Now, the person that we're talking about, her name's Leah the Trader. She's like a halfway between Instagram model / halfway between like Wall Street trader. Supposedly she's very successful. So in my opinion, she's not a bad person by any means. It's just a lot of what she does is, let's just say, very, I don't know,
social media-esque type of content versus investing content.
Right. Exactly. And the thing is, like, she ends up using the trading platform, like the trading aspect of it, to like come up as, oh yeah, I'm really smart. And I'm just like, okay, cool, that's great. But one of the things I've noticed is a lot of people, when it comes to Alibaba and everything else, they've gone uber bearish on it. And so a lot of the takes that I had when Alibaba was trading at a much higher price is what their take is now. And I'm like, well, you're kind of late to the party already. If you think that the dystopian market for China was there, you should have been calling it out much sooner rather than doing it now. And I think there are some people that are still very bearish on the Chinese market. It's fine. I mean, you're allowed to have your own opinion. But my thing is, right now, I'm looking at it not from the angle of valuation, because everyone knows Alibaba is undervalued. You look at their cash, you look at all of this other fundamentals, they are a very, very undervalued company. The point is, with companies like Alibaba, there is an underlying narrative that's being completely missed. And that primarily is surrounding a lot of the commentary that the CCP has been making around what they're looking to do for the next few years. And I think that there's been a significant crackdown in the retail, the e-commerce space, and a lot of the tech giants. But, China's coming around to the point right now where they understand that if they are going to be a part of the global community in the next 5, 10, 15 years, and they want to be innovative, they're going to need these tech giants to thrive. So I think the atmosphere around China is slowly starting to change. I'm still doing a lot of research on the messaging that's coming out. One of the things that I'd highly encourage people to look at is some of the key data points that came out of China. Not necessarily the numbers, but what they've been saying in their they're basically their mouthpieces. Like the Chinese CCP has a bunch of publications that are basically their mouthpieces, where they won't come out openly and say like, oh yeah, we pretty much tell these guys what to say. But these newspapers and journalist publications all pretty much do the messaging part for the CCP. So one of the messagings that I'm seeing right now is primarily around, hey, listen, I think we want to have our people have prosperity, and the only way we're going to be doing it is by investing more into our companies and letting them run a little bit. So there's a lot more I have to say about it, but I'm not going to go too much into it. But China's guided by two major principles. One is by fear, and the other one is guided by insecurity. So if you know how to play the insecurity and the fear aspects of how the CCP operates, you could theoretically do very well in this market.
So your argument is people that are saying the CCP is evil and like it's uninvestable. Your argument is that is a fundamentally a lack of nuance in regards to understanding how the CCP operates, especially at these valuations. Like at 300, you could say that, but at Alibaba. But
so think about it this way: when the tech giants were at their all-time highs, they were super powerful. The government feared their rise and was insecure, right? Now those tech giants have basically collapsed on themselves,
right.
And their fear is no longer their success. Their fear is our young people who are unemployed right now will rise up.
The economy got fucked, is what you're saying, basically.
Right. So now you're seeing the exact opposite happen. The Chinese are very pragmatic, if you think about it. It's just a matter of how they deal with their own fear and insecurities. And so the Chinese insecurity right now is no longer, will these tech companies come and dominate the narrative for our country? It's more on the side of, hey, our economy is fucked, so we need a growth driver going forward in order to pull ourselves out of this economic malaise. And the only way we're going to be able to do it is by economic freedoms and innovation. And so I think right now the Chinese government is likely to back off a little bit. And when they do back off, there are companies that are going to be positioned to benefit significantly. And one of them, in my opinion, is going to be Alibaba. It's tied into so many other industries outside of just the e-commerce and retail platforms. Like, people don't necessarily realize that they're number one cloud provider in China. One of the things that's been hobbling them significantly is just the level of, not the level, but basically the lack of AI chips have been getting into the Chinese market because of US restrictions. Now, the thing is, because of that, Chinese AI offerings have been slimmer pickings than some of their Western counterparts. But that doesn't mean that China isn't in the process of trying to, innovate themselves with regards to these chips and also these other aspects to it. So I would say, don't count China out as a completely foregone conclusion. I also know that a lot of people are very leery of the structure itself, on how these companies are structured, where you technically, as a U.S. person buying Alibaba stock, you're not exactly getting like the full ownership. You're getting ownership in a Cayman entity. But once again, that goes back into, how does China want to operate an environment where they want to have global presence, but at the same time, they don't want to be so restrictive to the point where there's no FID coming into their economy. So there's, like I said, there's more than a few things I could say about China. So,
Carlos, your thoughts on this?
I mean, I hear everything that you're saying, and I'm typically the guy that's like that tries to have us not argue opportunity costs. But I'm just like, when there's so many great U.S. companies and you don't have the additional variable, which is it's a variable of the CCP involved in, analyzing a company or analyzing your risk in terms of allocating a substantial amount of money towards it. I just personally won't do it. I don't see the benefit to it, when I feel like if what you're looking is to grow your money, there's plenty of opportunities here in America to do it. And, we know plenty of people. You follow a lot of accounts on X that make plenty of money with US-based companies. And even then you can get caught off guard. I just don't see what would be the mindset, unless it's a very small allocation, to have all of the traditional factors that can move a stock up and down, and then have on top of that the variable of China. Maybe because when you look at Alibaba, it's like $4 away from like basically an all-time low. The bottom of this thing cratered at $6. So when you look at it that way, no, but I want to make the counterpoint to Chris's point. It seems to me like what you're saying is, when the tech giants were too big, they were too fearful of them having too much power and essentially succeeding too much. Now they're basically the opposite. They're afraid of them failing. and what the repercussions could be. So what you're getting is a pendulum. Now what Chris is saying is they're now afraid of them failing, even though they were afraid of them succeeding. And so now the CCP, that variable of the CCP, is going to be a massive tailwind to them, and they're going to do everything they can to help them grow. And if you invest in China right now, as long as things stay the same, and especially if Trump gets reelected, forget it. It's going to skyrocket. That's what I'm hearing.
Bingo. No, you nailed it right on the head, Carlos. That's exactly the thing I was saying. Like I said, China, just like any other authoritarian thing, there's benefits to authoritarianism and there's detractions, right? The detraction is if you get too powerful, they'll smack you down. But authoritarianism is also something that pulled almost 700 to 800 million people out of poverty in less than 20 years. So don't ever think that the authoritarians can't, on the other end, support an industry or a company to the point where it gets massively successful, and there are definitely other aspects to all of this that are happening in the background, but valuations have never really been the guiding light for me when it comes to Chinese stock. It's always been around messaging from their government, because at the end of the day, that's what takes precedence. For us in the US, we are always kind of bound by the financial fundamentals. China is a little bit different, where the Chinese are more driven by year-end targets, given by the local leaders. So I'd say keep an eye out on the messaging that's coming out of China. What do they want to do? Do they and let me actually pull up a CNBC and like a Davos thing that actually could be very helpful in understanding.
I got something from Davos too, which I'm sure you saw, Chris.
Dude, you saw it?
I know what you saw. He said it right to their face. He'll never be back. He'll never be invited back.
Davos has been interesting.
Davos has been interesting. Isn't your boy Carp speaking at Davos?
Carp's always there. He's that's just marketing for Palantir. But you saw the Native American thing?
Yeah, that was hysterical. Did you see Elon retweeted that and was like, I didn't know Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, that was hilarious, dude.
That's funny. That's funny. But isn't it ironic that, like, last time everyone's wearing masks, telling everyone social distance. Now this chick is coughing in everyone's face.
Oh, I didn't even think of it like that. Yeah,
someone posted that under Elon, and Farzad had a great meme or a great GIF. Responding.
Dude, Davos it was interesting. Okay, so Chris is bringing up that clip. I have a bunch of topics as well. I want to talk about.
Just while you're waiting here, Amit.
We got
this one. Play this one.
Definitely want to talk about politics here, Steve. But I want to talk about China, I think, first. You've had a long, long relationship with China. How has it changed? How do you view everything right now with all the work you've done there, investments in philanthropic things, students, all the things that you've done there? It's more complicated, or is it?
Well, it certainly has been. Over the last 2 to 3 years, this has been a very difficult relationship. I was at the summit time in San Francisco, with President Xi and President Biden. Evidently, they had a pretty good meeting. They don't agree on all things, but the tone of the meeting was good. The Chinese, I think, have decided that they really need to re-engage with the world for their own reasons. Right now, they have a negative foreign direct investment. This is
I think that's the most important thing with China. One of the reasons why they've been able to successfully grow so much is because of a lot of foreign direct investments that a lot of companies have been making into their economy. But now they're actually starting to see capital leaving, and that is actually really bad. So right now the government has to come up with ways to get investors back into their markets. Otherwise, they're going to have anemic growth, and that might end up creeping into stagflation. So
a terrible situation for them. They want to reverse it. So Premier Lee, the number 2 person in the country, was here at Davos. I was at a lunch with him yesterday. They're very pro-business, trying to get people to come back. I actually had a private meeting with somebody who runs a large company who's told me he's building a plant in Shenzhen, in the south. So the Chinese, I believe, really want to lower the temperature for 2024 because it helps them. Their economy is okay, but not strong. And
you say okay, but not strong. Would you say challenged? I mean, one of the reasons I think there's an argument that they're coming here and saying we're open for business, please come do business with us, is because of how challenged the economy is.
Well, I think, Andrew, you're right on that. It's still growing. They're used to higher rates of growth. They reported 5.2%, which doesn't sound too bad. I was in Shanghai about 2 months ago, and the party secretary there, who's an old friend of mine, said, Steve, we're growing at 8.2. And I believe him because I know him. It's out of the big cities where the problems are.
We've got a minute left, Steve. So you were early on in the Trump presidency. You were.
So they go into some more details about some other stuff, but for the most part, I think the Chinese are going to be reversing course. It may not be as obvious right away, but you just have to, like I said, pay attention to the messaging. And I think that's where the value is. And eventually the valuation in terms of like stock price will catch up. And yeah, I think we'll see the tangible benefits of that. The other thing is Alibaba itself. There's a lot of fundamental changes at the company level that have been happening that not a lot of people seem to be talking about, which I think is going to be very helpful going forward as well. They've got some more leaders that are stepping up to the plate for Alibaba, especially their technology / their cloud unit, which I think is a little bit bullish. So yeah, there's a lot more due diligence to do on in regards to China. There's other companies in China that are worth actually looking at also because they've been taken to the valuation butcher shop as well. But Alibaba seems to be the most interesting one. So yeah.
Okay. Carlos, you want to bring up, or do you want me to play the thing you sent me?
Yeah, that was also at Davos.
Okay, so this is the Argentinian president basically shitting on socialism, which is always fun to see. Shitting on socialism. Sorry to all the socialists in the chat, if there's any. All right, here we go.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. Today, I'm here to tell you that the Western world is in danger. And it is endangered because those who are supposed to have to defend the values of the West are co-opted by a vision of the world that inexorably leads to socialism and thereby to poverty. Unfortunately, in recent decades, motivated by some well-meaning individuals willing to help others, and others motivated by the wish to belong to a privileged caste, the main leaders of the Western world have abandoned the model of freedom for different versions of what we call collectivism. We're here to tell you that collectivist experiments are never the solution to the problems that afflict the citizens of the world. Rather, they are the root cause. Do believe me, no one better placed than us, Argentines, to testify to these 2 points.
Interesting. So he told them right to their face. Basically, the globalism, the agenda that you have, the 2030, you will own nothing and be happy. He's like, that's the problem right now. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, he'll never be invited back, but a lot of people supported him saying that.
Well, so yeah, he was the guy who just got elected, right? The new guy.
Argentina, yeah.
It's interesting at Davos, he ends up basically shitting on the sort of, ideology that they have around
Well, because what he got elected to eradicate was what he's saying the global elites and the World Economic Forum is trying to push into every single country. And what he's saying is, look at our country,
right.
Look at our country as an example, an extreme example of what happens if you run these policies to their ultimate conclusion. And I'm being brought in to basically just get rid of it all.
No, and remember, Davos is the place a couple years ago that started this initiative of like overpopulation. That's something Elon's been pushing back against a lot, and I think it goes to the argument. Me and Carlos were talking about this a lot on our long Tesla ride.
That was a nice conversation. That was a good about that whole overpopulation thing. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it's just this idea that like people are the hatred of capitalism. You have to come up with these excuses to make people feel bad for consuming or bad for innovating, because then if you're innovating, you're using resources, etc. And the Argentinian guy's like, dude, we tried that whole ideology. It didn't fucking work. and we need to.
Well, like the headline of our talk was that the next revolution that is coming, we no longer, or the elites no longer need people to participate, nor do they need permission. You're saying back in the day, you'd have to force people with slavery, right, and beat them in order to do it. Now we have a bit of a sort of financial slavery in that sense, where you can easily be cut off from your existing lifestyle if you don't make enough money.
And one example to materialize what Carlos is saying is just like, think of a YouTuber. Like in 2020, if you said the word COVID, your video will get censored, right? So Google kind of forced people to engineer their content in a way because they would lose money if their videos got censored. So that's what Carlos means. Like you can financially engineer the results you want.
And then even people that aren't content creators like me, if I piss the wrong people off and I'm no longer hireable, eventually I will be homeless, right? I don't have an internet account. I can't be on the internet. I can't speak. I'll get banned from I can't defend myself. And then the extension of that now is with things like with AI and robotics, you need less and less physical human beings. And I think that's part of the reason why you're hearing this thing now about depopulation.
This is a good segue to this conversation right here. Speaking of needing less people, Google's doing some more layoffs. They laid off 1,000 people on Monday. And now internal memos, Sundar Pichai says, expect more layoffs, and we need to remove layers to simplify execution and drive velocity in some areas. The YouTube business team today, I think, got a couple hundred people cut off, or 100.
How many employees do they have worldwide?
158,000, if I'm not wrong. So it's a very small amount they cut, but I think they're just warming up to, hey, we got to cut some fat. Chris, your thoughts on Google needing to do this right now?
Good. They should cut another 30,000 people. Easy. Like. They did.
You want 30,000 people unemployed, Chris? You think that's a good idea?
I want 100,000 people unemployed from Google. Look, when companies become too big, their innovation goes down the drain, and so there are a lot of people in Google's employee base that have basically lost the edge. They've lost the hunger.
Yep.
And things became too easy. And when things become too easy, you lose innovation. I mean, Zuckerberg realized this a year and a half ago. But unlike Google, which is taking things a little bit more systemically, Amazon's doing the same thing, by the way. They're doing a lot more systemic layoffs. Meta and Zuckerberg was just cold. They just said, here's a pink slip. Go find yourself another job. If you don't want to be part of this team, bye. I mean, and look what happened to Meta stock, right? Went from 80 to 300. So I'd say the same thing with Google, and Google's making a crap ton of money. You don't want to get with the program. You've been here 10 years. Congratulations. You know your job, but a lot of people got too comfortable. And so, yeah, a lot of these tech layoffs, I'm not surprised. From a human perspective, I empathize with you. I think, everyone deserves a job. No one should lose their job. But at some point, we all saw those videos of, my life in the day of a Google product manager. And what does this bitch do all day? Fucking sit around the pool, right? Talking with her friends and get sandwiches. Yeah, 2 meetings a day. Like, bro, how many people are you going to babysit? My company has the same thing. I've dealt with, and I was talking to my wife about this, about these so-called project managers and product managers. Bro, all they do is fucking just forward emails. That's it. And anytime I ask them for any questions or anything, it's always just like, oh, well, you know what? You should reach out to. No, you're the project manager. You should be doing all this shit, not me reaching out to everyone. So a lot of people were hired to make life easier, and all they really did was just collect a paycheck. And these people getting laid off, I'm sorry, just your skills are not necessary, especially in the world of AI right now, where things are becoming a lot more simplified. Getting layers of bureaucracy out of the way is the easiest way to innovate. So I'm glad to see Google do it.
You guys buying anything? I mean, Amit was flying all day and I was sleeping the majority of the day.
Not right now.
But are you buying it? You mean me neither? Me neither. I'm skeptical of this. This dip doesn't.
But it's not really a dip, right? Let's move on to the macro.
Like a losing footing kind of thing before you actually.
The S&P is down like 2% from where it was a couple of days ago, so it's not a dip. But some stocks are getting, like the Bitcoin miners, destroyed. I mean, the Bitcoin miners got absolutely demolished, right? So Bitcoin stock, MicroStrategy, Coinbase, if you got there anytime in the second week of December to end of December, even early January 2nd, MicroStrategy was $720. You're fucked. You got fucked.
Can you put that damn it, I want to say Nguyen, but that's not how you say it.
It's Gwen.
That's, yeah.
Oh yeah, Carlos.
It's not Gwen. It's It's when, right?
No, the N is silent.
Or when. No, it's when. W-E-N. That's how you say it.
That
when,
okay?
right?
Can you type in how to say your name phonetically in the chat?
Yeah.
So we can get
It's
it right.
when. It's when. It's I'm pretty sure it's when.
So
but
the N.
I call them Dad Noogie.
And the G is silent. It's UN.
Oh, he said Chris is
Yeah.
right. What'd you say, Chris? It's when?
Yeah.
Win.
Yeah, it's when, like that. Yeah.
When means win.
Okay, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, but that's absolutely right. That this is the year, and you're starting to see this not just at Google and Amazon, but look at PayPal. PayPal today, the CEO came out and said the same exact thing. We are over bloated with people that are basically just sitting in the middle, basically passing the buck to each other and saying, "Look at all the work we're getting done." No, there's.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. 2021, there was a ton of layoffs. 2022, there was a ton of, 2021, no layoffs. 2022, a ton of layoffs. 2023, there was really little layoffs. Why is 2024 first 2 weeks all of a sudden so many more layoffs?
Well, it depends on the sector you're talking about, right? The tech sector saw a lot of layoffs in the early part of 2023. That's what you saw, but it just depended on which company and which one you were looking at. I think a lot of AI is starting to kind of filter down into a lot of these white collar jobs where you could theoretically replace functionality, not replace the whole person, but replace some of the functionality with AI related products. So
I think it's because the rank goes. I think maybe the revenues aren't as good and they need to cut costs, and maybe that.
What are you talking about? Revenues were growing last year. Revenues are growing this year. Google's is improving its bottom line. Same thing with Amazon. They're not going anywhere. Yeah, okay. But Rango, earnings growth can also come from the crap ton of share buybacks they're doing as well. So they're not
to that extent. Yeah. I agree with them. I think it's a very easy lever to pull right at the beginning of the year. After we got through the holidays, we got through everything. Let's just start cleaning house, and then start with that as the base.
Because none of this is going to affect their Q4 earnings. All of this is for Q1. Q4 is in the books already.
Well, to that point, it could be an indication that Q4 earnings are not going to be as great. But we laid off a bunch of people, to be able to say that on an earnings call. It's a possibility.
Google, Amazon, both were growing top line like crazy. They also grew their bottom lines. It's just they weren't necessarily as recognized by it.
Yeah,
well, the market didn't recognize.
The market
it
did not care.
Right. So that's the only thing.
Last year was the year of the AI premium, right? The AI premium. I think this year is the year where you have to prove that AI premium was valid. Otherwise, everything's gonna.
Well, look at the valuation differences in terms of PE for both Microsoft and Google. Microsoft got the $1 trillion tailwind of OpenAI, and Google got the $1 trillion hatchet by a lot of people thinking that AI was going to disrupt their search business. And neither one of those cases are starting to be proven out. I mean, AI is great, and Microsoft is doing exceptionally well with things like Copilot. But, I think a lot of people are counting Google out as like, oh yeah, their search engine is going to be, their search revenues are going to go down. I'm like, I'm looking at their market share. Their search market share is down less than 1%. And on top of it, their revenues for search advertising revenue are up. So I don't know what people are really going about, but okay.
John has a really good comment. He says, as a PM, it can definitely feel like you aren't contributing as much to the rest of your team. These are the people that are getting paid off. A lot of these are product managers, which basically communicate the engineers, tell the engineers what to execute on in terms of like actually coding the vision, and then work with other product managers to come up with a vision. So if you're at Facebook and you're testing,
I do want to say one thing. There is a huge difference between between product and program managers, by the way. So, if you're offended by this, I'm sorry. I didn't mean you specifically, but among your peer group, there are definitely slackers out there that are basically giving you guys a bad name. And the faster we weed those people out, the faster it is that the ones that are actually showing all the things, because trust me, I've worked with project managers, have done exceptionally well, that have actually like lightened the load off of my back to the point where I can actually get things done. But then there are those that are just literally pushing paper.
Well, let me ask you a question, Chris. Did product managers ever make more than you or the same? Or do you think
I don't even know.
Because a lot of project managers make on average $200K at these tech companies. Like they make hefty. They're not as much as the engineers at 500, but I mean, when you cut them, you're cutting basically middle management for someone who can talk really nicely for the engineers, and you save $200K. So it does make sense why they're the first to go.
Bring up Jay Shash. What? 93. They're critical. Like in my industry, we have an equivalent of project managers, and the really good ones are indispensable. They help the team moving. They make everybody more productive. But the trade-off is if they're inefficient, they make everyone less productive.
And they waste money. Yeah.
So it's beyond just the wasting money. A bad person in that position affects the other people who you are not going to fire, right? So you sometimes have to get rid of those people. But I think by and large, the companies know which ones are effective and which ones aren't. And it would sound to me like they're going to get rid of the people that are these floaters, these dead weight. Thank you, V. Mitt got me this.
Carlos, that shirt is fire.
Mitt got me that shirt.
Yeah, it's that, and this is the thing that I think. What's his name? Sundar Pichai, when he put out that memo today, is actually highlighting the same exact thing we just basically spoke about, right? Which was you want to have people that are going to help accelerate things, not hold things back. So if I'm always constantly having to go through middle management just to get everything done, and then that is what's slowing me down, then is there really a purpose to that person? So streamlining comes with a lot more structure that's flat rather than having this layers and layers of bureaucracy. So, and I guess that's what we'll see, right? With regard to Google, not only will they benefit from the savings of cost of those PMs, but how is that going to translate into better products? Like, will Google be able to innovate faster without those people?
Right.
You know,
I mean, I have to go back. I think all of this comes back to what Elon was able to achieve at Twitter. And I think a lot of people are saying, man, he got rid of a tremendous amount of the workforce. And the people that he kept were like the absolute best. And then he had an open call for the absolute best talent who want to work hard, and created a certain culture. Whether or not it's going to be successful, still yet to be seen. But I think that inspired a lot of CEOs to look at their companies. And I think that's what we're seeing right now in these companies. They're all sort of saying the same thing that Elon was saying a few years ago when he took over Twitter, except he needed to do it. They don't need to.
Chris, I think you saw the PayPal interview today. Do you think Alex Chris is right, or you didn't?
I didn't see the whole thing yet. No.
Okay. So, I mean, basically, for those that didn't see it, he basically just said, look, we're doing some layoffs. He said, we're right-sizing the business. They have this January 25th, like a presentation. No one knows what they're going to announce, but apparently it's something innovative. And he basically said, look, we're still 25% of the world's e-commerce sales, something like that. So he's like, we are still in a really good position. I guess generally, how are you guys feeling about PayPal? Stock has been really flat over the past 3 months. People are.
If I felt it was financially responsible to be investing, I would be buying this one. I still have some spreads that I bought from a while ago that I posted about, like, that no one gives a shit about. They're underwater. I don't care. And I have been accumulating some shares. I do think this one is going to be ripe for a bounce back. I just wish I didn't buy so much when it was higher, so I could enjoy more of the alpha. But at the same time, I just don't think the company's going anywhere. And I think they're just getting beat up right now. They're the kid being bullied right now. But I do think it'll turn around. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I do think it's going to be like Meta at 88, but maybe it's not a triple, but I think 120-ish is very possible. I don't know when.
I would need more than that for those spreads, but no, actually, no.
No, you don't.
85, 125.
You need 85, yeah. And by 70, you'll probably break even on them. But
Yeah.
there's like 120,000 call options for the 140 strike January 25. There's another 58,000 for the 145. So there's a lot of money on the bullish.
Yes, there's a lot of people. Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of people, even whether it's technical or not, there's a lot of people that believe this thing has been way, way, way oversold, and it just needs a narrative shift. When do they report? When are their earnings?
It's early February. It's soon. It's very soon.
It's going to be a really important earnings season.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting. All right. Can someone explain what happened here? So JetBlue tried to buy out Spirit, didn't happen, and then Spirit drops 60%. Can someone make sense of this? Why did this happen?
Wait,
this was
JetBlue wanted to buy them, and it didn't.
It didn't go through for some reason. I've not seen a stock down 60% in a long time, dude.
Because it was anti-competitive, supposedly by the judge who ruled it, saying that that like by merging more airlines, that you would have less, like consumers would have less choice.
Do you think that makes sense? Damn, it's down 89%.
I mean, it's technically true, but there still are.
I guess here's the question: Is do we buy some Spirit? Do we buy some Spirit down 69%?
I'm not touching that. Are you kidding me? I'm not touching this stuff. This is what I'm saying. Like, I don't. We've said it before. I don't need to be in everything. And just because you see blood in the water doesn't necessarily mean that if you go for that fish, another big fish are going to eat you. You know. I don't know. It's interesting to see, and just to kind of learn how much flexibility there actually is in a stock price when a narrative changes, right? Because Spirit was technically the same company the day before and the day after. I see it a lot as like what happened to Twitter before Elon bought it, the run up in the stock up and down as people were like, okay, it's going to get bought out. So we're going to get, people saying, maybe they were holding on to it, hoping it was going to get the merger and they'd get their price. And then it was like, oh, nope, no merger, done.
I have one piece of advice for anyone that wants to remotely buy an airline. Don't. Okay? Don't. Airlines are a terrible business. Their entire business model is fraught with risk, with very little reward, with a shit ton of competition, with a crap ton of regulation. Like, there is a reason why the airline industry has gone bankrupt multiple times and required bailouts. Do not buy airlines. Airlines are horrible. Like, beyond horrible, to be honest with you. You always have the risk of regulatory issues. One of your plane crashes, you deal with the fallout of that. You have consumers that give you terrible NPS scores. And then on top of that, you got fuel prices that are always fluctuating up,
you got
down,
people
left,
taking
and
up
right.
more than one seat on the plane. They want to knock you out and put you on TikTok.
It's just a terrible, terrible business. The only company that has successfully not ever declared bankruptcy is Southwest. And that's because like they've hacked their way into efficiency, but even they are not doing that well. So there is only one area of the airlines that you would want to buy, and that is their debt stack. But other than that, their equity, do not touch that shit ever.
On that note, can we take a like and subscribe break? We forgot to play this today, Amit. Share.
Oh yeah. Gotta do our intro.
I forgot to play it. So if you guys are enjoying the pod, please hit like and subscribe and share with one of your friends. Because Chris, don't buy airlines, but do your own research. Thank you very much for riding Air Junkies.
Dude, my flights back and forth to Cali, they were like,
I was surprised that you got out of there.
Smooth.
I was surprised you got out of there. I was like,
by the way, guys, Vitaly's been stuck in Nashville for 3 days. He just got back tonight. Like, I could not be imagining getting stuck at an airport for 3 days. Apparently, they're saying he's in some terminal movie or something like that. They're comparing it to that, whatever that movie is.
Yeah.
But
The Terminal with Catherine Zeta-Jones.
I don't know what that is, but
you don't know who that is? Catherine Zeta-Jones?
With Tom Hanks, you know the movie The Terminal?
Anyway,
he's Air 404. He's crashed.
Dude, 3 days.
Medicine is for it's medicine for his goat. You remember that? You don't remember that, Amit?
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, dude. You're like speaking Mandarin right now.
Good movie on the long list of good movies that you probably haven't seen.
Yeah. What's the longest you got stuck at an airport?
I haven't been stuck at an airport, but I definitely got stuck in the sense that I couldn't fly back. I was in Colorado trying to get back. I had tickets for the 26th of December to come back. Couldn't get back. And they kept flying me. Trying to get home.
Got bored. He was like,
I got stuck in
with the Justin Bieber eye.
I got stuck in North Carolina. My flight got rerouted to North Carolina because of bad weather in Atlanta. And so they were like, oh, we'll fly you guys out tomorrow morning, but you're going to have to stay at a local hotel. So they gave us choices. So I'm thinking, okay, what are the choices? And they had this one place called the Wyndham Garden. I'm thinking, oh, it's got a garden in the name. That means it's probably a great little hotel, right? So we get dropped off, and bro, it is like one of those 1 hour hotels, where you could rent the room for an hour. It was just dirty as hell.
Sticky movie theater floor.
Bro, I got into the elevator and there were like these 3 girls on there. And I was curious, like, man, they rode the elevator down and now they're riding it back up. So like I go to the 3rd floor and they're still in the elevator giggling. And I'm just like, wait a second. Were they hookers? And that's exactly what they were. They were hookers looking to pick up Johns,
Wow.
So I told my wife, and my wife was, no, you need to go to like a better hotel.
Like sleep outside in the cold. I don't care.
You know, I was like, nah, it's all right. I can survive the Wyndham Garden for a night. So,
That's what happened to me on the way back. They said, well, the furthest we can take you is Chicago because it's just the weather won't allow us to take you back any further. So I ended up getting stuck in Chicago for like 2 days and actually had a great time. Had a great time at some good restaurants. Bitter cold, like literally walking forward in the snow, like, 45-degree angle from the wind that's hitting you. It was one of those brutal Chicago winters. And then eventually they could only get me as far back to, what's that, upstate New York, the airport that's upstate New York?
Albany, Buffalo.
No, it wasn't Albany, Buffalo.
Westchester.
It might have been Westchester. That was the furthest they could get me up. But my car was at Newark, so I had to rent a car and then drive it.
Also, Chris, the Newark slander has to stop. Okay, Newark is a good airport. It's not the best airport. It's not the worst airport.
And speaking of which, next time fly into Burbank. Don't do this LAX thing, man. The LAX was a nightmare. That drive, fly to Burbank. You'll never want to fly to.
I didn't even know there was an airport.
It's the best. It's like it's small, but you can still get all domestic flights. Like all of JetBlue will go there, and the baggage claim is on the street. It's like literally right outside. So you get your bag and you go right into an Uber or your friend can pull up. They have valet parking. It's great. I would recommend you fly. You fly there.
I have to defend Newark, dude. I've been to Newark like probably I think at least 1,000 times in terms of that airport. It's not at least the United terminal.
Like I've been to Newark a bunch of times, just riding the elevator up and down. Just
the only good thing about the Newark airport is that it's connectivity to the city via the train, because you can get on the PATH train very easily from there. So that's like the best part about it. But dude, physically the airport is kind of trashy, especially when you compare it to like Hartsfield.
What about Atlanta? Compared to
Atlanta's the best.
What about compared
to
the new best? What are you talking about, Atlanta?
New LaGuardia, the new terminals at LaGuardia are awesome. Like especially the main terminal, which I fly out of for Southwest. That one is awesome. Like, but it's just a lot of walking. Atlanta's really good, man. Atlanta, you can go anywhere, dude. It's like busiest airport in the country.
Hey, can I share something that maybe we can do some dubious speculation on?
Yeah, let's do it. I was about to share something that we were going to do some dubious speculation on anyway.
Dubious speculation. Did you guys see this?
Let's see if it's the same thing.
Is it?
Oh, it's different. It's different. Okay. Go ahead. Set it up. What is this?
All right. So apparently the Netflix app will not work on the Vision Pro. So let's read a little bit of this. I saw this today. Apple's Vision Pro headset won't have a dedicated Netflix app at launch, according to blah, blah, blah. The streaming giant reportedly doesn't plan to launch an app specifically for Apple's headset, nor does it want to make its iPad app compatible with the platform. The move means users won't be able to watch Netflix in a dedicated app like the other streaming services that have announced support for the headset, Disney Plus, Max, Amazon Prime, and Paramount Plus. Instead, users will have to watch content from Netflix in a web browser, which will make the movies or TV show wearers are watching far less immersive. It will also prevent users from watching content offline and could put limitations on resolution as video quality. Netflix's web app varies by browser. While Netflix ended up creating an app for Meta's lineup of Quest headsets, the app is pretty outdated. Our members will be able to enjoy Netflix on the web browser on the Vision Pro, similar to how our members can enjoy Netflix on Macs. Blah, 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 blah. So what do you guys think of that?
You think they won't? Is Netflix was Netflix the reason for this, or Apple's the reason for this?
It's Netflix. Netflix is saying they're not creating an app. So it won't launch with it. So there won't be an app, a native app that you can watch. You'll have to go to a web browser, type, put in your credentials.
That's really weird because they should want to be a partner to launch this thing, right? Like they're a premier content platform.
Well, that's my question. Why? Because then my next question was, do they have an app for the Meta Quest and for the other VR headsets? And they do. So then I'm like, why would they single out Apple? If they're saying the app is pretty outdated, but you can still have a native app, a button, you click Netflix and you can watch in your 50-foot screen on the Quest. So then my question was, why right out of the gate are they saying, no, we don't want to have an app, or we want to make it really difficult for those users to be able to experience our content on this new platform when all the other ones have signed up for it? And that's what I have my own thinking as to why, but I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts.
Dude, it makes no sense to me why they would not want to launch on the first ever new S-curve for Apple's growth and not be part of that. Like that's like saying the iPhone's coming out and you don't want to be one of the first apps. Not saying this is the iPhone, but if it is, like,
right,
why wouldn't you want to be there? Like YouTube's probably working on their Vision Pro strategy. Like unless these guys don't want to help Apple, but Netflix is not competitive with Apple. I mean, not to the extent that
That's where
Google-
my head is. Well, they technically are competitors because Apple has its own streaming service.
Yeah, but that's still like this little part of Apple's business.
That would be, I know it's a small part of it, but that's the only reason why I could think that, because Meta does not have their own completely competing platform, right? So they're not technically competitors. Like Facebook Watch is dead. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
No
Facebook Watch
one's
is dead.
watching
It's dead.
Facebook Watch.
I mean, people watch stuff, but it's not like, you know.
But it's an archive of stuff. I don't know. I used to work on some shows for Facebook Watch, not anymore. So that's the only thing that I can think of. And then I'm like, what did Apple do to piss Netflix off? Like, there's got to be, you know, leveraging.
Are you gonna get the Vision Pro, Carlos?
Yes, yeah, in 2 days. If they order that, open it up to pre-order it. I just want to, first of all, I want to test it out, but I'm also really curious what the process is. Apparently, you have to go in, you have to get fitted. They make the lenses specifically.
Wait, what?
You have to get fitted for it because the lenses have.
So you can't just order it out of the box. You have to actually.
Well, I don't know about you. Like Chris probably could because he doesn't wear corrective lenses. See, I wear contacts and have glasses.
Wait, so there's going to have to be a premium on how they put in the medicine in the Vision Pro then for our eyes, right?
What do you mean the medicine?
Like they have to make a certain type of glass for our face.
No, it's just the prescription so that it focuses correctly.
But I'm like, doesn't that cost more money on the Vision Pro if they're going to add a prescription?
I don't know. I don't think so.
There's
it's $100. It's $100 for custom fitting. I think.
Custom fitting lenses, right? So for people like Chris, he'll just buy it, put it on his head, adjust it. He's fine. And I think if I wear my contact lenses, I should be fine. But if you want to wear glasses, or if you want to take off your glasses and use these, then the prescription of the lenses in the Vision Pro need to match your prescription glasses, unless you would wear contacts.
By the way, I wear contacts.
Oh, you do?
You do? I just never wear glasses.
Like I'm blind too, guys. He's like, I'm fucking blind.
I'll show you my glasses. Hold on.
I want to see.
How can we never wear those glasses?
Carlos, when did you start wearing glasses? What age?
I was so freaking young.
I was in fifth grade.
I was in kindergarten. I was the dude with the strap around my head. You know how many fights I had because of those glasses?
Dude, I know what that kid looks like already.
I was such a freaking nerd. Oh, wow. Such a nerd.
Wow, we got IT tech support in the building.
He's even got the charts reflecting on his eyes.
Exactly.
The Google Glass.
You don't want this. I don't want to wear these things.
You don't want none of this.
Damn, bro. Yeah, I don't know why Netflix is doing this. It's very weird.
Well, I think it'll happen eventually, but I think they want to see if they've got any power. Look, I don't know anyone that's saying, "Oh, I'm going to go buy this $3,500 thing so I can watch Netflix on a 50-foot screen." But
yeah, who would like Netflix? You want to sit back and like just relax. Why? I mean, it kind of doesn't.
I know some of my friends that are going to get. It's kind of like when the iPhone came out. We were all, I think we all switched to Singular a few months before because that was the first carrier. And then when it came out and they had like things like FaceTime, we were all there testing it out within each other. So I know several people that are going to be getting it, and I'm really curious in testing out some of those features. The big thing for me is I want to see if I'm actually compelled to use it every single day. You know, I just got this Mac Studio.
I'm already going to give you your answer, dude. You're not like that's.
Cool. That's what I'm looking to. That's what I'm looking
no, dude.
And if I am, and if I do end up using it on a daily basis, I'm curious what I use it for. I think I'm going to enjoy the immersive video more than I think. I'm going to be recording those kinds of videos of my kids, and I'm curious to see just how that whole thing works. You know, so we'll see. I was there. I had the iPhone 1. I had the Apple Watch 0. You know, so.
John Sarge, that's funny comment. He's like, as a PM, Chris definitely would become my top coder in those classes.
And that's the one I'm assigning. John, that's why you'd be let go.
I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes if I go to like an interview, bro, I'll wear the glasses.
Oh hell,
you know what I mean?
Really?
Like you want to? Bro, you get an extra 10. You get a 10 extra IQ points. You wear the glasses.
There's a little bit of a
But if you go on a date, take those glasses off because otherwise it's like, oh god, here comes Steve.
Well, I've worn them on the date. What are you talking about? I've worn them on the date.
Carlos, no, I like your glasses too, Carlos. You look nice in glasses.
Yeah, but they weren't always like that. When I was a kid, the technology is great now. When I was a kid, these things were like ice cubes, like on my face, like freaking massive. And I got bullied for it. I definitely got bullied for it for sure. And we were poor too, so I had to get those like state, Medicaid glasses.
Yeah.
They were just awful.
You know what's funny? These, you would think that these are like some state Medicaid type glasses, right? Just like based on like the frame. These are Tom Ford's. No.
Oh, so they're expensive.
Oh, the design, but they look. The thing is, they look cool. But you have to understand, I was like in kindergarten, so I walked in my first day in kindergarten. I think I was the only kid with glasses on, and I had the strap That's what did it too. The strap on my head, so I had to fight. I had to fight, man. With those things.
We got 5 minutes left. Let's just do this last segment. Vivek Ramaswamy has dropped out of the race. He has endorsed Donald Trump. Any thoughts on kind of where
he's gonna be Trump's VP, man? Everyone's
I don't know if VP. He's gonna be part of his
so.
circle. I don't know if it's VP. He's gonna be part of the circle though.
He will. But we were talking about, Amit and I were talking about this. Look at Buttigieg. Buttigieg, people were like, VP. He ended up being this transportation secretary.
Yo, me and Carlos were like, how does this random dude become the transportation secretary?
When he wanted to be president, right?
You know about transportation, dude.
That was his second place. Was like his consolation prize was like, go run the transportation sector.
It's like what? They just give these jobs out because when you're in when you get the presidency, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
No, but someone made a good comment. They said, what did they say for him? Make him press secretary? No, it wasn't press secretary.
No, they said chief of staff.
Chief of staff.
I feel like that would be demeaning because chief of staff is like a secretary to the president.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like, I
but
don't think
press secretary, you could see him out there every day. Just
he would crush as the press secretary. He would flip every
mother
narrative.
people.
He would flip. He would. I think he would be amazing at press secretary.
I would say you'll see him on a TV show no matter what. He'll be on a TV show. He'll be on one of those shows as like.
I think he's set up a career in media, dude, because he's compelling. He has like a couple million followers now. Like he's set up a career in media. And even though he's already rich, so I guess he doesn't really need like a career. Like,
but the mainstream media meltdown over how commanding the victory was is interesting to watch.
Yeah,
the resulting meltdown. I mean, they're throwing everything at the guy. So we'll see. We'll see.
It looks like Trump is our nominee, dude.
The nominee. Yeah. And there
really doesn't have a fucking chance. DeSantis doesn't have a fucking chance. They're talking about, oh, she's leading in New Hampshire. It's like, okay, so there's like 48 other states. Like, there's
yeah. I don't think it goes much further than this, because the other thing too, and this is now the Republican Party is calling for them to consolidate, because they're saying we're basically wasting money that we should all be funneling in, getting ready for the general. The faster that these guys drop out, the more they can pivot towards the general, which now, I mean, is anyone even primarying Biden? No, right? There's no one else.
There's Newsom in the background just waiting for them to make the decision.
He's back up, but I'm saying, is anyone actively primarying him? Well, RFK, but RFK is running as an independent now.
Yeah,
he's no longer running.
Dude, it's going to be Biden and Trump. But here's a tweet that got 14 million views yesterday on this situation. Kind of went a little viral. Trump promises that Vivek will have a position running the White House. Dude, this is so racist, but it was so funny. Like, it was just
the Babylon Bee.
It was too funny. It's like, yo, this is like explicitly just racist, but it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious.
That is pretty funny.
So, when I thought, I didn't feel offended as an Indian guy. I was like, to be honest,
that is
the best comment, the funniest comment that I saw under there was someone was like, Vivek's slogan for his next campaign is going to be "Thank you, come again."
Oh my gosh!
Thank you, my friend.
Dean Phillips has no chance either, dude. This whole stupid Bill Ackman endorsing Dean Phillips is all garbage too. Like, this is. It's not happening.
What, Dean Phillips, what, he's primarying? He's on a Democrat?
Bill Ackman just wants to like control everything. And so he's like, Dean, this is the guy who's going to be. It's like, no, dude. No, like your Twitter Spaces is not going to get him elected. It's just not happening. Like, at this point, it's Biden or Trump. And
who would you want to see? Who would you want to see if like UFC created a version of itself that was all just debate? Who would you want to see? I definitely would want to see like.
I would want Trump and Vivek debating. Like what other Newsom and someone else, you know?
I think that would just be a bunch of platitudes and talking points back and forth. I think you'd get a really good debate with like RFK, maybe get Vivek in there debating with RFK, and who else? I could get three people going in there and battling it out. I'd love to see that. I just feel like that would be great content. I feel like as much as people talk a bunch of shit, they never want to get in there and actually do debates anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to debate.
Even like not letting someone into a debate, like let them in. Let's have the argument, you know?
Yeah. All right, guys. That's it for us today. Thank you all for being here. We will see you tomorrow. Wait, tomorrow's Thursday?
Tomorrow's the last one for the week.
That's pretty much it.
And if you are so inclined, hit the like,
muted, dude.
Subscribe. Hit
Did
the like.
Vitaly make it home?
Yeah,
Vitaly make it home.
He made it 2 hours ago. He made it home.
Yeah, but you'd imagine.
Hopefully, he'll be ready for tomorrow. He's got to tell us the story of being stuck for 3 days, dude. 3 days. And it's Nashville. It's not that exciting either. It's like,
I mean, would it be that exciting outside the airport though, in that kind of weather?
That's true.
You know,
that's true. All right, guys. We will see you guys tomorrow night. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Real quick before you go, when does did you put the Meet Kevin video? Is it live?
No, it'll be up like Monday or Tuesday, the pod.
All right, you doing the 2 parts?
Yeah, I'm doing 2 parts. Yeah.
Nice.
So I'll give you guys 2 parts. One will be just stock stuff, and then one will be like the psychology of like Meet Kevin, how he's building his life, all that stuff. He said he has a lot of takes, dude.
Before we go, real thing, can you put that one Combat Vitaly signs on there, right there? You dumbasses who laugh and blow it off as are the dumbass whose kids are. Bro, I grew up listening to this shit all over. All right. And I'm sure Amit got the same exact thing. If you teach your kids to let it bother you, then guess what? It will be one of those things that always they're gonna get picked on. By not making this something as small as, hey, it's just a stupid joke, you're taking away any power from these people, right? People are allowed to make fun of you. That's just how freedom of speech works. But the minute that you let people let that kind of shit bother you, it ends up being one of those things that they can use against you as a weapon. So me and Amit, bro, we grew up listening to this shit the entire time we were probably growing up, especially me. Like my dad actually did work at 7-Eleven, by the way.
Dude,
so,
my mom my mom called me a terrorist growing up.
Yeah, so
that's what
I get offended by other people calling me a terrorist.
That's what makes some of that stuff funny. You know, when I was a kid, people used to pick on the Chinese kids or the Asian kids because they were so smart. And you have to ask yourself, is that really a bad thing to be known for?
7-Eleven people make money.
They're making money, right? That's what I'm saying. They're hardworking people. They're business owners. Like, so is that really like a dig?
Bro, you're buying something for $1 or $2 that cost me 5 cents. I'm making 950% margin on all your shit. You're the idiot that doesn't just get water from home. You're the one buying it at a store. So you can call me whatever you want, but there's only one thing that I'll say to you. Thank you. Come again. That's it.
And for that, we will see you tomorrow night, everybody. Bye-bye. Have a good one.
Bye.